Electricast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Welcome into Missing the Point. I'm Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside by DK Sizzle Dave Clark, Ruby K. Bob Kelly, and we have nothing else to talk about. I mean, sports has come to a standstill, so we're talking about Week 1 preseason recap.
Fucking August.
But first, DK, just right before we started going, brought up a story that he really wanted to talk about, and I feel like this is the best time to lead off with it, DK. Michael Oher, The Blind Side. We all know that. We all saw the movie. Huge controversy. Huge controversy came out this week that it basically felt like he told his story about how he was at a very early age told to sign something that would release him of any of the royalties.
You got Britney Spears.
I don't know if there's a conservatorship there, isn't it? I mean, it feels like you might have more intel on this than I do.
Well, here's what I think. I think that we don't know all the details of this situation, so it would be irresponsible to talk about it, which means we should definitely talk about it.
For sure.
Because that makes it more fun. I personally feel victimized and betrayed by Sandra Bullock. I've always been Team Sandy, Miss Congeniality 2, even more congenial. I don't know. What is the title of Miss Congeniality 2? No, obviously it's not Sandra Bullock's fault. She's going through a lot right now. Do I believe that rich Southern white people are rotten to their core and could do something like this? Yes. Do I believe that I guess the essentially, to lay out what happened, he gets to the NFL. They make this movie about him, about how they adopted him because he was like living on the streets, like the best example of a white savior movie ever made, right? Then people kind of forget it. He has I would call it like a pretty decent career, majority Ravens, right? I remember it being ironic that he's playing right tackle for the majority of his career, and the movie named after him is called Blindside, but maybe the quarterback was left-handed a lot of the time. Who knows? I mean, Lamar Jackson is left-handed, isn't he? But the sort of overall point now is that he kind of came out and he was like, they never adopted me. The whole story was a lie. They made me sign these papers that put me in a conservatorship. Now, you saying there isn't a conservatorship, that makes sense because I'm pretty sure a conservatorship puts an automatic gag order on shit like this. I don't think that he could come out and say this stuff and be legally safe if the conservatorship existed.
Well, again, not just because we don't know the details, I think we should talk firmly about the details. It says
I'm willing to speculate though.
it says this is the story on it. He said he alleged that he agreed to the conservatorship, having been led to believe that it was a form of adoption because of his age at the time.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I don't know, but it just it makes me think it's just this lady, it smacks of true to me. Is that at least a fair thing to say, or is that completely is that out of line? I believe Bobby. I believe that this bitch could do this shit, right?
Yeah.
It would be such an elaborate thing to make up on his part, right? It would be, and again, that's not proof. That's purely anecdotal. But I think I could see that family being like that for sure.
Think I kind of feel like it kind of falls in the middle because if you look at what's happening too, both sides are alleging such polar opposites of the shit that happened.
That's saying, generally what happens in these situations, though.
Well, and now the family's saying that he actually is the one that embezzled $15 million, and actually is the one that took all this money. And
well, hold on. They're saying that he told them that he was going to plant a negative story about the situation unless they paid him $15 million.
But like, and again, this is not proof of anything, but that's exactly what I would say.
Yeah,
If I
but
was in their
I also think, I mean, you don't think that that's kind of a little bit. So, like I said, I think it falls in the middle because like, so when did this movie come out? 10 years ago?
2009.
Yeah, 2009, more than 10 years. So someone has been in this guy's ear because it's already known that he hates this movie. He hates the way it depicted him. He hates.
Is that true?
everything
I didn't
about
know
this
that.
movie.
I did not know that.
He hates this movie because it makes him look like he's this dumb idiot that didn't know what
Dude, he really is dumb in that movie.
he really stupid.
It's
He
like pretty
is, man.
insulting, actually. I don't think that they would make this movie in
That's
2023.
100% they wouldn't.
Like, I
but
think
so-
there's just some parts of it where it's like, whoa.
So-
The movie was already problematic before it turned
even
out that
the
she
most-
was a fucking schemer.
The most heartfelt scene of the entire thing is her breaking it down to him, not related to football, and being like, "You're too stupid to understand this football game. So why don't you go ahead and block that guy because he's your family?" That's what.
Right.
And
Right.
it
right.
completely.
Yeah, like
takes it apart
she
from
not only like takes him in, but also like takes credit for his football IQ. She's like, I got him there.
But so I just feel like 13 years later, it's hard for me to really sympathize here because, bro, it's been 13 years since this movie came out. What that tells me is that someone is in your ear being like, "Hey, this is messed up that they did to you. Do you see this? Look at this over here. Oh, but what about this over here, man?"
Do you think what you
and-
think why didn't he say it sooner is a fair argument when I mean
Well,
I
it
can
is-
see it.
it's-
I can see it if he's
Yeah.
like we're out of money. It's
Well,
like
but-
if it coincides with that.
It's interesting that he waited until he amassed a net worth of about $20 to $25 million before he put this out public. So but you're right, DK, like he's out of money. Or B, he just wants to make sure that A never happens. And maybe he was actually wrong. Maybe this could
Or C,
I'm
he
inc-
was slighted.
I'm inclined to believe that this is true.
Me too.
I
am
can't
too.
really make up a defense that it isn't. It will be interesting if this does go to court, though, because if he signs into this based on the premise that he would be adopted and never was actually adopted.
No, it would.
Doesn't
There's
that
nothing. If
void
that's
out
the
everything?
case, yeah. There's no actual court case. It is just a reputation burn, right? Because it's like, yeah, if you sign on the dotted line, and you agreed to it. I guess I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer. Like maybe there's a world where it's like he was coerced because he was like underage. Like a lawyer probably wouldn't take the case if they didn't think they could win it. I would guess. But yeah, I just love
if-
that
if
like the
they're
NFL is
adopted,
so.
If he's adopted, they have a legal right to that money, right? I think that's where it comes
But
down to,
that's
is,
not
like,
what
they
they're
have a
saying.
le-
They're saying he was in like because the conservatorship, as I understand it, is like protection, and this could be completely wrong.
Yeah,
so it's
explain
like,
it to the general public what a conservatorship is, because I totally know what it is.
I will
100%.
guess to the general
Please
public.
do,
but just the general public, I in case they need to know.
I know. I'm good.
I know what it is. Yeah, totally.
but for anyone listening, well, Bobby, since you asked, my understanding is like when an adult goes into a conservatorship, it's because they can't take care of themselves. So you have essentially the right to do with them what you will in order under the guise or the fact of keeping them safe. So Britney Spears was in a conservatorship. It was hard to not hear about it. Now there's different sides to this story too, because I wanted her to get out of the conservatorship because it seems like they were stealing her money. But since she got out, it's like, wow, that bitch seems pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
she
Maybe
needed
we
the
should put her
money
back in.
anyway.
So it's like, I don't know. But in saying that, I don't think anybody should be held against their will. If she didn't want to be in there and she could articulate that, then don't be in one. And that would be my same guess with him. Like, I don't know how easy or hard they are to get into or out of, but like you said, Mike, if he signed it, it's one thing, but then there's also was he tricked into signing it with comments of a completely different life? Yeah.
Was he under? Did he sign it under false pretenses? Were there extenuating circumstances that led him to that? Like, I'm not a lawyer. I just watched a lot of Suits. I think anyone.
Is that good? Is that show good?
Yeah,
I heard so much about that show.
Watch it. It's so good.
No,
it's that good.
It's really.
it's not like Breaking Bad good, obviously.
No,
it's not
or Better Call Saul. It's not that level. But
Okay.
It's different, but it's equal.
because we just started
Mm-mm.
Justified.
I don't know, equal.
Oh, love
Better
that
Call
show
Saul.
too.
I'm really
Guns.
enjoying Justified.
Just
Yeah,
fine.
it's
And I'm
great.
fine with Justified being like a middle brow, like not like the most
Yeah, it's fine.
amazing show that's ever like been produced. But I'm like, it's just watchable because like Timothy Oliphant's like, don't make me pull, I'll put you down. I'm like, yeah,
Fucking love
fucking
Timothy
get him.
Oliphant. He's the best.
I love
He's
that
so
guy.
good. I love
But like he was
Oliphant.
also in Deadwood, which is like very highbrow, very good show, you know. So he can do it all. He's got range. Anyway,
and
Michael
Santa
Oher.
Clarita Diet, which is also a good.
Haven't watched that one. Is it good? They
Good
eat people,
watch
right?
Those are little Netflix recommendation for everyone out there.
Yeah.
Fuck Netflix. I stand with the working man.
Streaming.
Yeah.
Ugh, fuck it is.
Fuck all the streaming services, all of them.
And it doesn't matter what you say to that, Bobby. DK can't
That's
agree
true.
with you on
Yeah,
that.
that's
I physically cannot agree with you right now.
Well, you're right.
I'm bound under
Okay,
loyalty
so
anyway.
Is 12 minutes on something that we know nothing about been enough time to talk about this, or do you want
Yeah,
to
but
go to it a little more?
I would like to request that we revisit it as more information comes to
I
light
just-
because
Yeah.
there's nothing
I
better than
agree.
this show becoming The View for 10 minutes.
my last thing is if they, I don't know if you can. I feel like you can't force a minor into it if you're the one who actually is supporting him. So that's
A
where
minor or a minor?
minor is
Like a minor, like a Chilean minor, or a minor like someone who's underage.
Not
Because you can
someone
force a
who's-
minor to
who's-
do a lot of stuff.
who's
'Cause
forced.
they
to
need the
build their
money. They
phone
need to go
by
get the
mining.
coal.
Yeah, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, it feels like actual football's the way to go. Okay, so week one of the preseason is in the books. We're going to talk about our respective teams. We got the Bears, who looked great, the Cowboys, who didn't, and then we have the Patriots, who looked way worse. So, like, this is the best way to start. I want to start with
Can we
the
do
Bears.
one disclaimer just at the start so we don't have to continue to do it for the entire show? We
That means nothing.
accept that it's preseason. Like we
Yeah, yeah.
accept, like just right off the bat, for all intents and purposes, like no qualifiers needed. We accept that it's preseason and it's mainly about getting in shape and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we are going to talk about the takeaways, I would assume, because like there are some takeaways. Disclaimer at
Yeah.
the start that we get it. So don't sit there if you're listening to this the entire time being like, what if overreacting to preseason? It's like, that's all I get to react to right now. So just
and
let
like,
me do it. Let me live.
If you all of you out there made it through the blindside commentary, like, it's going to be a cakewalk. for the
Like
rest
that
of
was
show.
the
So,
best
like, it'll be
part.
fun.
I loved that. Do you want to keep talking
so
about
far? Well, so far it was. Can we
it?
start
Tune
with
in for
the
our
Bears?
watch along of the Blindside 2009.
Can we start with the Bears? Because I
Please.
feel like that was one of the most surprising and impressive starts that you can see. I mean, Justin Fields, again, we've been talking about how the big play element had been what was missing, like his first couple of years. The guy goes 3 for 3 for like $130. They weren't all deep balls, but now we've seen
None of them were actually.
No, you've seen what DJ Moore in that offense is going to do. So, DK, going into that game, what did you want to see, and how did that game help you feel about this team so far?
Honestly, I wanted to see exactly what I saw, which was I wanted to see our rookie. I mean, this is again, I know I did the disclaimer, but because it's preseason, you're not exactly looking for Justin Fields to light it up or fail or whatever.
Roshan.
You're looking for him to get a few snaps and like see what his footwork's like, what his movement's like, what his protection's like. And I think that like the big thing for me was I had kind of earmarked the rookies, of which we have quite a few. The defense. The notable losses, the notable like players not playing, like we had a lot of guys not in there, which obviously you're not going to take any risks in preseason, but Jaquan Brisker, Chase Claypool, Terrell Smith, Tremaine Edwards, Dylan Cole, Lucas Patrick, Nate Davis, like none of these guys are in there. So, and these are guys that would fill a lot of holes on the starting squad. So especially like I want to see Tremaine Edwards, obviously, because like that's our kind of our blue chip signing in the offseason. So I think a lot of positives. And the biggest thing for me was I already knew Justin Fields had a better deep ball than people give him credit for. I already knew that he can scramble when the play breaks down. What I didn't know was, could we sustain drives? Could we have enough in our back pocket in the modern NFL to look like scoring on every drive? Because that was kind of our kryptonite last season. We came really close to winning a lot of games. We only won 3, but we came really close to winning a lot of games. And it was because we didn't have enough in the fourth quarter that they hadn't seen. That was like kind of my takeaway of it a lot of the time. I think huge positives. The offensive line, they're blocking down the field was awesome. They all look bigger, more athletic. The promises that Poles and Eberflus have been making are coming true. as far as we want fast, high IQ, athletic linemen. We want hard hitting, aggressive defenders. Like these sort of propaganda remits you get that you're like, I'll believe it when I see it, right? Because how many fucking Bears rebuilds have I watched? Not one to this degree. I mean, we've always been so middling, and we've talked about that. But I wanted to see them start to deliver on their promises, and they have very intelligently. They've used the market correctly. They've used the draft correctly. They got a lot for that first pick, which we obviously lucked into a little bit, but you take what you get. And quite honestly, I don't mean to sound like I'm overreacting, but like roster on paper, the rebuild's like almost done. The holes that I can see are definitely still prevalent. It's not going to happen this season, but I do think we'll win a good amount of games. And it's obviously going to come down to Fields, and it's his third year. So we're going to know, we're going to know who Justin Fields is pretty much as a quarterback, come the middle end of this season.
So I had a question, DK, because you said last week on the power ranking show that you felt like you guys were an edge rusher away from being maybe a powerhouse.
We
in
signed Yannick Ngakoue since then.
Yannick, yeah.
So that was a really big pickup in my opinion, as far as additions to this Bears roster. We had 8 sacks in this game. I'm not going to keep saying the preseason thing. We had 8 sacks in this game. We had like fucking 20 all of last season. So the fact that we needed to get pressure on the quarterback was obviously quite evident. There's guys on the defensive line that, had started to fade that came back and showed something. There's rookies in there that looked really, really good. And I think pressure on the QB is huge. I mean, like, what did we talk about? Bobby and I had fully decided that you have to be able to pressure with your line in today's NFL. Yep. Like we basically like put that into the Hall of Records as like official. Like it's in there.
It's part of the playoff manifesto.
If you can't bring pressure, it's not 1998 anymore. If you can't bring pressure without including your linebackers, you're going to get murdered. Because if your linebackers come, yes, sometimes they can, but a lot of times, if you don't get that pressure within the margins of 3 seconds, if you bring a linebacker, like most QBs are going to kill you over the middle. So, and especially in the regular season, like even Kirk Cousins can kill you in that situation. So it's the way pockets collapse now, et cetera, et cetera. So the fact that the Bears seem to know that is really encouraging. The fact that they're starting to get, the hard hits. We seem to be taking the tackles really seriously. A big thing I always watch the Patriots do. This is, it's like hard not to bring up the fucking Patriots when I think you're talking about team defenses. Like, it seems what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a defense around a mentality and a culture, which is what I want, as opposed to one guy, which I've seen before. It doesn't work as well, in my opinion. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do this thing the Patriots always did, where it was like the first guy that got to the ball carrier would put him down. Like, it was like, make your tackles, execute. It was like, if you got penetration, you put the quarterback down. Like, don't go for any crazy strip sacks. Don't try to make just like execute on defense. Bend, don't break, et cetera, right? This has all been talked to death. And I think that it's something I've always liked about watching that team. It means they're well drilled. It means they're disciplined. It means they're concentrated. It means they're taking it seriously. And I think that you can get a lot more out of a defense like that than you can out of a guy like a defense with 2 studs, and like holes in the other areas, because it's a big field. Like if you come up against a good offense, you can start finding holes. The biggest thing I want to see over the course of the preseason is, as far as Justin Fields' deep ball goes, I think it's accurate, but I want to see him hitting route runners when they break into dead zones on zone defenses more often. That is when you start to see elite QBs emerge. If he can do that, plus he doesn't have to do everything anymore. DJ Moore, like the meme this weekend was 1 + 2 = 6, because DJ Moore is 2 and Justin Fields is jersey numbers 1 and 2. So I love that. I love that he has DJ Moore. We have a great backfield, and like all that stuff's great. But I guess my overall point is, I was watching a lot more the little things, like how well drilled they are, what the defense, what their mentality is going to be, where everybody's going to be, how everybody's going to be. And people seem to be buying it. And then that to me is like something I can probably recognize and then be like, okay, I can feel good about that, even though it's a week 1 preseason game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with the Bears that I took away was the commitment to change the things that didn't work last year, and to show that that is a serious point of emphasis. The main thing I was going to bring up was the 8 sacks, because I think they were 32nd, if not they were like bottom 5.
And we were last in
NFL.
sacks, I think. Yeah.
So I think
Which
that's so
I can tell you
huge.
shows up when you're watching the team. It's very
Oh,
frustrating.
100%. You know what I mean? A quarterback not having to worry about getting hit every time he drops back is such a game changer, man.
Anybody
And
can look like a fucking stud in that situation.
100%, 100%. And you like you said, yes, it is preseason, but it obviously was a point of emphasis going into the game. Yeah, you're 100% right that that's what you look like. That's what you look for in preseason. You see what they're trying to go for. If they execute it, if they look crisp, you know what I mean? There's just certain things that pop out to you like, okay, this could be a good football team.
Yeah.
And when you see a point of emphasis like that stand out to the point where they're getting 8 sacks in a game, which is, I feel like that happens 3-4 times a year in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like that's a big step forward to me. The other thing that stood out was your rookie running back, bro. I think it's Roshan Vaughn or something like that, or
Roshan Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
He was
Bro,
sick.
Derrick
breaks
Henry
tackles,
2.0.
bro.
He's
He breaks
Derrick
tackles,
Henry
bro.
light right there.
He's a
He is
beast.
a
Khalil Herbert's
man
our
of a running
RB1
back.
for sure. It's the job's sort of his to lose. He brings like a well-rounded game that like I think is going to work really well, especially on these like screenplays.
Yeah.
But do you remember like, I'm not saying this is what the Bears offense is now, but do you remember like peak? Obviously you do. It wasn't that long ago. Peak Chiefs with like Tyreek Hill and like that mobile backfield with the way that their offensive line worked. It was like we would rather have like sort of nimble, like smart pass and run blockers as opposed to like giant power blockers that are trying to like shove the line. Like
you want the guys that can get out on the edge and set that
right.
side.
But because they had guys that were so fast, and like that they had skill guys that were so fast, and like that includes their QB. And I think that became a blueprint. If anybody was watching and they were smart, that became a blueprint on how you use fast skill position players behind the line of scrimmage. Because if your offensive line can get out and claim a space and like claim a position, you can basically guarantee yourselves 4 to 7 yards of fucking play if you can run those plays consistently. And if you have guys that are mobile and that can move, that's all the better. And then I think I can start to see the formation of a game plan with Chase Claypool in there. If he becomes the Chase Claypool that I've seen him be before, which is no guarantee. I there's question marks about his mentality.
Looking good in practice, bro.
Yeah, he's looking good in practice, but also there's still question marks there from that the end times in Pittsburgh. And also like those skill players that Pittsburgh pick up, like they don't typically leave Pittsburgh and play really, really well. Like at least in the past few years, it's like something in the water down there. I don't know, coal miner town. But I think I would be really encouraged to have him as a deep threat, as a wide receiver too, after DJ Moore, with how DJ Moore can move yards after catch. So I can sort of see the game plan that they're going for. I think our offense is a lot better than it was last year. I think our defense is marginally better than it was last year. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the new linebacking core in action. But yes, I agree with you, Bob. I do. I think that's a good point. And I think that like if you don't pressure the fucking QB, like it makes for tough watching. Like it makes for really, really tough watching of a fucking NFL game when you have a horse in the race.
Also, every defense is going to look bad if they're always on the field. I mean, if you give them enough time, it's going to happen.
It's a good point. You remember that thing with Brady where it was like, you got to keep the ball out of his hands. Like the only way to beat the Patriots was to keep the ball out of his hands, which like then had the domino effect of like hiring out that Patriots defense, and the way that they played got extremely neutered by how they would stay on the field for that long. I mean, teams are only able to accomplish it once or twice in that era, but that was the only game.
It was twice, and it was one team.
Yeah.
They did it for 10 years. I mean, 08 through like 2014, it was bad, real fucking bad.
It was like you could like basically attribute like a time of possession to the Patriots offense to wins, like 1-to-1. It was like if Tom Brady has the ball in his hands for more than like 5 playing minutes, you're done, you're cooked.
Yep.
Which was like we're never gonna fucking see the like again, to be honest. But like, it's still a fair philosophy, right? You still want to keep the ball out of the QB's hands because they can't hurt you on defense if you're safe with it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to see out of this game that I didn't get to see, but I still take it as a positive, you kind of alluded to it, was Justin Field. I wanted to see him have the ability to throw somebody open deep from the pocket, because that is something that Patrick Mahomes can do, Josh Allen can do, even solar powered Kirk Cousins can do it. It's not what Lamar Jackson can do. And I think we all know that Justin Fields is going to create a lot of plays with his legs, but he's going to stay healthy if he stays in that pocket and he gets comfortable. The flip side of that, though, is talked about it last week on the show when you talked about Travis Kelce, about how everyone on the field knows that he's going to get the ball and there's still space. If the Bears offensive coordinator can scheme an offense half as well as Andy Reid and his team can, I mean, Fields is going to be amazing for a very long time.
Well, our offensive coordinator was a part of the number one offense in the NFL a couple of times in Green Bay. I like what he's doing so far.
You have a guy like Fields, man. You don't even have to scheme an offense, but if you do actually scheme a successful offense, it's
well, what I want him to look like, Bob, and I've said this to you before, like what I want him to look like in a perfect world is a guy that honestly, like peak Aaron Rodgers. Like if he can move and get yards and always have it be the right decision, you know what I mean? Like where he's sliding, like the end of his run is like a slide. And then he just walks back to where, because it's like his arm is so lethal. And this is obviously my dream version of this, like working out. I can see this offense, like I can see how it can get there, but it's not a guarantee. Like it's hard to be elite. But I think if every run is like 7 to 11 yards, not like scrambles for 3 to 5. Like Rodgers, when he would run, it would always be the right decision. So he would run into this pocket of space and slide, and it would be a first down like almost every time. So if he could do that, because they have this like triple threat worry about him all the time. And to your point, Mike, like the deep ball, I really like his deep ball already. But you can't judge it until you give him a weapon. Like we've talked about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Like we've had that conversation. I don't think that DJ Moore is Stephon Diggs, but I also think he's like strangely criminally underrated because of the market that he's been playing in for the past few years. Like I don't think he's like
100%
a household name because of that. And I think I knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but something feels special about that dynamic, which I didn't actually want to say on this show because I really don't want to jinx it. But something, even in that first preseason game, something felt a little special about the two of them, the way that they linked up. Because for all intents and purposes, like the report on Justin Fields is that he's like low key a psycho, which you like want, right? Like he's got that like psychotic like work rate thing. They say now you want that message coming out of any camp for your first 2 years QB, obviously. But like if that is true, the 30-year leap could be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I'm really looking. I was saying all last season, I can't wait for next season, and like here we are.
Well, it's like, bro, the difference in weapons from DJ Moore, even if he's not a one, right? Well, who was Denzel Mims? Was that your number one last year?
No, Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney, right? So I mean, come on, it's Mooney's great.
He's good. He's really good.
He's great, but he's not a one. Not even close.
No, we're a lot deeper.
Never be talked about.
We're a lot deeper at the wide receiver position than we were last year. That's for sure.
And I think you're right though.
That's Cole Kmet.
To see the chemistry between those two in that first preseason game where they were actually looking for each other, I felt like they wanted to send a message. Like it. I agree. I think that's going to be special.
I'll also say I was entertaining pipe dreams of us trading fucking shingles for Jonathan Taylor last week. But it doesn't. The thing is like he would be so good in this system too. Like the way that he is, like he's probably. This might sound like an exaggeration. Like tell me if I'm exaggerating hard, but like he's probably one of, if not the most elusive running backs I've ever seen. Like it's 100%. Like elusiveness being, I think, his key quality and makes him very, very fun to watch. So like just on that merit, I would love him. But our backfield looks pretty good. So I don't know.
Roshan, man, I'm telling you, that guy's the truth.
Yeah, I would probably. I would trade Khalil Herbert for Jonathan Taylor straight up in like a second. So if
would you?
Yeah, I would. But I mean, like they're not in a great bargaining position. That doesn't. I know it sounds like an unfair trade, but like he wants out, they want him out. It's not like that's common knowledge. So that I could see it. And then all of a sudden, our offense is like, woo, Who?
Imagine RPO with Jonathan Taylor and Justin Fields. Oh my fucking god.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, plus that fucking absolute cannon of a fucking RB2 we have to just like run through shit. It's looking good, dude. The thing that I always liked about like, obviously I wanted pace out of there. Like, I was very vocal about that. And like the coaching for the last few years, we don't need to get into that. But I think that there's a definitive fucking plan and vision. And honestly, at this point, that's all I can ask for. If you're trying to put a plan and a vision into place and you're making responsible and patient and intelligent decisions to make that happen and not rushing and doing the right thing, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I didn't necessarily want Eberflus as my first choice. Like, I wanted the, like, let's get everything we can out of Justin Fields guy. But the fact that he brought in this offensive coordinator and QB coach and like these guys that we've brought in that with pedigree, it shows me something that I think is very important in a leader, to be honest, which is humility. Like, one of you guys mentioned like the idea of like leaving the stuff that doesn't work behind. Humility.
Yep.
And not sticking to a game plan just because it was yours, and trusting, like surrounding yourself with smart people and not putting yourself in a position where you're the only one with the answers because you have an ego or, you know, you're worried about your job performance or whatever it is. Like, those are good leaders to me. And it seems like I might be reading into what I want to see, but it seems to me like he's putting around him a team of very smart and capable people to help the team succeed. And it's not about him.
Yep.
You know?
Brings me back to like the 2017 New England Patriots, DK, when against Miami, when Bill Belichick said, we will not throw the ball once until we can run for a first down. And they never ran for a first down. So like, you don't want to become that, you know?
Right. Right. And at that point, the nice thing about where we are is the sky's the limit right now. Everybody's super young, the baby bears. The coach hasn't done anything to make me insane yet. The GM hasn't done anything to make me insane yet. In fact, like, they're doing positive things.
I mean, the
So
GM
sky's the
swindled last year.
Yeah,
Swindled.
I thought he
last
was
year.
great.
That was always the theme of the Bears pre this era, right? Was there was always something that was a negative, the drawback that had a big dark circle over it that you had to cloud over, that you had to cover up in order to be a successful football team.
Well,
And
I
this
think
Bears team, it seems like the needle's moving forward and everything is looking positive, and there's an outlook of like, yes, this may not be great, but we're working towards this direction.
I think you're correct, and like, having lived under that cloud, I've felt it, and I think the thing that I could compare it to for like the Boston sports listening fans is like, you could fill up Fenway Park no matter how good the Red or bad the Red Sox are. Like, you can sell out Fenway Park no matter what. So there's certain ownership types, and there's certain powers that be that are more focused on the bottom line and not losing out on certain revenues and et cetera, et cetera. There's some ownership groups and powers that be types that are more focused on their how they look to the general public. And we're never not going to love the Hallises. We're never not going to love the Bears. We're never not going to show up to fucking Soldier Field on Sunday. No matter like how badly it's fucking falling apart. We're never not going to be vocal on the fucking internet. And the other thing about Bears fans that I've noticed is it's my one fan base that where I live in this sort of safe space. Like, I can, you know, Packers fans and I talk shit to each other, but there's not a ton to talk about with how successful they've been. So it's like, you know, but with the rest of the NFL, they're all kind of like, the Bears, you know, like, the Bears.
No one hates the Bears.
No, it's like
I've
the
never met
opposite of
anyone
the
that's like,
fucking
I
Dallas
fucking hate the
Cowboys, to be
Bears.
honest with you. But it's that has sort of, I think, if I were to guess what you're talking, like the answer to what you're talking about, Bobby, that I think is what has sort of dragged us into mediocrity, because it's like, where's the motivation? You know, and I think that there was finally sort of a breaking point of patience with this Bears fan base, because we started to slip into joke territory. Like, a franchise that is kind of highly regarded and well respected hasn't won a fucking Super Bowl since 1985. And you traded up to draft fucking Mitch Trubisky, and then you fucking brought in fucking Big Dick Nick, and like he looked like shit, and like et cetera, and so on and so forth down the line, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And eventually, even the most kind Midwestern soul is going to start to lose his fucking patience with this shit. And as a person who primarily grew up in Boston, I lost my patience with it a long fucking time ago. So, yeah, finally the very nice people that share my fandom are coming around. But I'm really encouraged. I'm really encouraged by the culture. the kind of bummer is that I think they're doing almost the same thing in Detroit. I think they're really turning something around over there. And I'm starting to sort of believe it. So we'll see. The North is up in the air, man. I was
also
listening to our power ranking show.
I kind of hope it flips upside down. That'll be dope if the Bears
Yeah.
and Lions end up on top of that division.
It's going to, because Aaron Rodgers is out of the division, and now all of the minor like tweaks and increases.
Minor?
So not like coal miner, but like small, like all those little tweaks now, those are going to be amplified because you don't have that one juggernaut team in the North.
Right. And I think, I made this point in the power ranking show.
Good.
Is it just, sorry to interrupt you, but I made that point in the power ranking show that it's like, it's about, like, I think we're making adjustments to win the division now because we can see the shift.
Because you can.
Yeah. Because it's smart to do, Honestly, like, how good could we have gotten over the course of the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers eras? Like, how good could we really have gotten while those fuckers were there? Like, they were just putting their fucking foot on our neck for 20, 30 years.
I can't imagine that, man.
It's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful.
That's not good. The Bears are my second favorite team now because obviously Mr. XFL TJ Walker on the team. I hope he makes it. I
doubt it. I doubt it. We'll see.
Probably won't.
I'm looking forward to watching it. And honestly, I do think you guys can all get on board with the Bears because we're not divisionally conflicted.
Hey, I've been on board with
and
the
you
Bears.
have, yeah, but that was the point I was going to make to Mike, Bobby, is, if you want a fun bandwagon to like half root for, watching Justin Fields play football.
It's so fucking fun, man.
It's a beautiful
thing.
So
I have him on my dynasty team.
Me,
and I had Justin Herbert and Justin Fields, and I chose Fields just because of how much fun he is to watch. I was like, bro, this is not even a fucking competition.
Bro. It's going to be absurd. He just looks the part, man. He like looks like the guy that I want to be my quarterback, if that makes sense. His face has been my avatar in our Discord chat for the entirety of since we signed him. Because I immediately put him, I just took the Bears for a franchise year and won the Super Bowl immediately and took a picture with him in the Lombardi trophy. And I was like, that looks good. That looks like it could happen. So I'm just trying to manifest it,
I don't know if the next we talk about is going to be as happy, but I mean, Bobby, we are in your preseason.
You guys are a fucking mess, Robert. You're a mess.
Christmas, but it's like Christmas for you. The Cowboys will never be any better this season than they are right now in your eyes. So let's talk about the preseason game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know we lost, but I take no take. So I take 0% takeaway from the fact that we actually lost.
I thought you were going to say accountability. I was like, it's not my fault.
I take no fucking account. No. Listen, this isn't a story of my life podcast. Okay, this is story of the fucking Cowboys, man. It's brutal. Deuce. So the one takeaway is Deuce Vaughn. He is Darren Sproles 2.0, bro. What a find. He was 5'5".
8 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown.
Bro, 5'5", 170 pounds, and he actually is from Kansas State too. So he literally is.
That spin move.
He's a carbon copy of Darren Sproles. And if you add this to our offense with Pollard and Darren Sproles 2.0, man, I'm on board with that. My biggest takeaway since we last talked is the fact that we actually signed Zach Martin. I am so happy that they finally woke up and realized that this dude is what makes this offensive line go. The offensive line has gone from an elite offensive line that was the staple, or what's the word I'm looking for? What people build off of?
The archetype.
Yeah, thank you. Of what the rest of the NFL did. And now there is no depth. It is just a bunch of injury-prone old guys anchored by Zach Martin. So he had every goddamn right to hold out, and I'm just happy they're smart and actually paid the dude. Because without Zach Martin, the Cowboys are in trouble. This offense is not the Cowboys' offense without Zach Martin anchoring that offensive line.
Okay.
Can you? I'm not trying to pick a fight here. I just had a question for Bobby, if I could just ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not to piss you off, but this probably will. But what exactly is the Cowboys' offense?
I think I can answer that. Can I jump in? I think it's John Stevens Jr. in the tight ends. To me, those are the guys that jumped out to me. He got 5 catches and a score. I think it might solve a little bit of your blocking issues too. And also, it's that thing that you saw the glimpses of last year. You got to put Dak in a position to succeed. You can't ask him to pull a rabbit out of a hat, because I think, as the three of us, I think it was decided, he's just ain't that dude. So, right, Bobby? Like, were you encouraged by your tight ends, like the tight end friendly offense that you were sort of running, and like like that was the thing that jumped out to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, so I love our tight ends. Ferguson's going to be a really good tight end
You had a
this
few
upcoming
catches
year.
too, right? Like
Yeah, he had
you
a
had
few
like 50
catches.
yards or something.
It's all about replacing Dalton Schultz, but the offense itself is what you saw when Tony Pollard was on the field last year. That's what the offense is moving forward, and it's going to be. So if you remember during that playoff game against the 49ers, right? What happened as soon as Pollard went out? The offense stalled.
Your offense was done for the
Bro,
day.
Pollard is what's going to make this offense go, and I think he's going to end up being a top 5, top 10 running back in the league after this year. That offense will be Tony Pollard.
Was he not top 10 last year? Why? Just because
Yeah.
of touches?
Yeah, I guess he was. It's just the Zeke took away most of them. But
Yeah, well, I mean, that frustration even frustrated me. Like sitting there fucking watching Zeke out on the fucking.
can't wait for that.
Well, I think I have a different opinion of him on the Patriots, to be honest with you. But I think it's about what you do. I mean, like it was so situationally fucking ignorant every time that they put the ball in Zeke's hands. It's like you're because like what my thing with you, Bobby, if you remember, wasn't like get rid of Zeke at first. It was like just ask him to do the things that he's like good at and put him in a position to fucking help your offense, as opposed to like put him in a situation that's clearly calling out for Tony Pollard, right? Like there was so many touches where it was like, why isn't this going to our like superior breakout running back right now? Like it's fucking 2nd and 5. Like just give it to fucking Tony Pollard. Like he'll get you a fucking first down. But instead they're giving to Zeke for 3 yards, and then they'd be in that weird 3rd down situation. It's just like, and I think that being eliminated for the Cowboys is a good thing.
yeah, 100%. And that's why, like, listen, I want to come in here and be like, these are the takeaways. That Dak didn't play. Like the main guys that make this team go weren't on the field. So yes, there were standouts. Like I said, the running back, Damon Clark is a really good sideline to sideline defender. He looked good in that game. There was the interception on the first possession of Trevor Lawrence. Obviously there's things that stand out, but like, yeah, there's still those Cowboy mistakes, but it's all the backups and it's all these guys that are fighting for the last spot on the roster. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, I'm feeling down about this team because of the one preseason game, especially when I know I'm going to feel that way in September and October. So I got to reserve those feelings at this point and still stay on my high horse. And I'm feeling good. I'm still feeling good.
I mean, yeah, you can say that, but there was still offensive weapons that were out there that I think were proving to be. I took a good thing. Like good things from Deuce Vaughn and John Stevens Jr.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I took positives away from this game.
Also, your linebackers are athletic as fuck. Overshown, DeMarvion Overshown. He looks good.
Yeah, Overshown's good.
Is it Marquise or Marquise Bell?
I think it's Marquise.
Marquise, he was all over the field.
Yeah.
All over the field. I think he had 10? It was 10 or 11 total tackles. But he was everywhere as a safety. So your defense, I think you talked about this last week.
I think they have number 1 defense in the league. Like
they do.
To be honest with you, I think that they're so athletic. Like I think they can really get back to that like ball hawk defense of 2 seasons ago.
I think it's the same thing that we were just talking about with the Bears, where it's the mindset and the things that you see the Cowboys doing is what you're going to see from this team moving forward. You know what I mean? The defense, to me, the thing that they have to watch out for, and it happened a few times in this game, is that big penalty, man. And there's so many different times where they get that big stop, and for some reason they have to stay on the field. And that's what comes back to bite them. And that ends up actually being the reason why they lost this game. Granted, it was backups, but I don't know. I can't take too much away from it. I got to see what this team looks like with Dak Prescott, with Brandon Cooks. Like the offense is going to be so revamped from what it was last year. You guys remember?
It's tough too, because like I got to talk about the Bears in essentially the context of like we won preseason week 1. Like I think we had the most preseason game.
Oh no, like, we're going down the ladder on purpose.
Like, but now it's just like Bobby's like, I don't know, dude. Dak didn't fucking play.
Yeah,
Listen,
you guys know I always come on the mindset. I got to defend my boys.
No, I think there's a lot to talk about.
I'm here at the Cowboys Shield.
Can I just do one more callback?
What?
More callback, Bobby. Again, not to piss you off, but we are 1 year removed from you telling myself and DK Sizzle that the Cowboys had the best wide receiver room in the league, and now they've only gotten better because you have Brandon Cooks, who infamously ran backwards in the Super Bowl and got leveled and was concussed for the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, those are the hardest hit I've ever seen in my life. No, I mean, listen, do you remember who the wide receivers we had week 1 last year? It was like Dennis Houston.
No,
Exactly.
CeeDee Lamb.
So it's just such a weight off my back that there actually is weapons for Dak to throw to. Gallup as a 3 healthy is so different than having Michael Gallup as your number 2 wide receiver, halfway recovered from a torn ACL. You know, it's just night and day, man. Where it's like when we talk about the Celtics, when they finally get that depth and dudes are in the right place, in the right positions to do what they're supposed to do and not have to overperform above what they're doing. And that's what this wide receiver group is going to be moving forward. But you're not getting me riled up on a preseason podcast. Not yet. That's for October because you know it's coming.
So talked about DK's Bears and how they won the preseason. Then we went to your Cowboys and how we can't really take anything away. And we're going to move on to my Patriots. And I can tell you that they showed me that they are exactly who I thought they would be as of week 1 of the preseason and week 1 in the regular season. Their offensive line is fucking terrible. They're going to get whoever their starting quarterback is. It will be Mac. He's going to get killed because they cannot protect him. Ramondre, I hope that he stays healthy. But what I took away from this game is that you need to figure out how to make Malik Cunningham the next Taysom Hill. You need to do that because I don't want him doing just running gadget plays. I think now, especially Gesicki mildly dislocating your shoulder, although I didn't know you could do that. Either it's out or thin. I think with that one of your tight ends down, if Malik's been taking reps as a quarterback and as a wide receiver, put him in as a tight end too. Figure out a way to open
looks
up
electric,
the offense
honestly,
in the middle of the field.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He looks like fun. I'd like to watch him play football. I didn't know that about your offensive line though. Is that as bad as you say?
Yeah, it's so bad.
Because what about all this talk about Mac Jones, breakout candidate 2023? He's on the list. He's on everybody's list as possible, huge jump. This is what everyone's talking about. That people just ignoring the fact that he's going to get stalked like a deer and fucking murdered in the middle of a football field.
I think that's strictly just a byproduct of the fact that he has a competent offensive coordinator this year.
No, he has a offensive coordinator. Period.
Yeah. Is there no trickle down effect to your offensive line then? Can Belichick not pull a rabbit out of a hat and put on 4 guys that you've never heard of?
Well,
and, switch a guy from right guard to left tackle, and all of a sudden he's having an all-pro season, and then bang, is that not on the cards?
Well, the guy that they did that to last year was Trent Brown, and he's been hurt all in camp, and they're counting on him to come back, but he wasn't good last year.
He was terrible last year.
What you saw?
Yeah, but you have to think about what I think last year offensively is a complete wash because the guy that was coaching the entire offense was that's gonna affect the offensive line. If you're not scheming correctly for sure, blockers, you're gonna look like shit. That's just a Matt Patricia run offense. You cannot grade any of your players. You have to pretend that year didn't happen.
But what I will say is that Bill has $8 million tied up in Riley Reif and Connor McDermott, and neither of them might be starting linemen.
But he has Malik Cunningham for $250K. That guy's gonna fucking run all over everybody.
he had the biggest signing bonus of any undrafted rookie this year. So he knew.
Yeah,
Bill knew it was up. Yeah, it was $200,000, and everyone usually gets 50 or 25 or something like that.
Sweet, spend that Robert Kraft money.
It's away from this game was Malik. I also thought that Keon White, he looked just angry on defense. He is going to be something. And I don't think defense is going to be a problem for the Patriots. I mean, I don't think that they're going to be a good team at all. I still think it's going to be 7-8 wins this year.
But Trent Brown practiced, right? He practiced.
Yeah, he practiced.
I mean, he'll play.
But just so that you know,
he'll play.
Yeah, every single preseason, every single training camp, has every day the beat writers have been saying this offensive line is bad. Like it's really bad.
Okay,
And they didn't
but
even
what about
play the starters.
They were pretty spot on last year.
again
beat
though?
writers.
Again, like last year, you can't judge anything from last year. Like you just can't. What about what's his name? The fuck that wide receiver.
They got Juju. They brought in Juju.
Demario Douglas. I like solid route runner. Like he's like a 6th-round pick to be a diamond. Like that's positive. Here's the problem, Mike, and I said this on the Power Rank you showed to Roshan, and it was a little bit to just fuck with him, but also it's true. Your fucking schedule is a murderer's row of teams.
Right.
Like, it feels
so
mean-spirited, honestly.
I think that the Patriots will absolutely be functionally better than they were last year.
Well, they just have to be.
And they still might have a worse record because of that schedule.
That's a fair point.
So like it's gonna be really hard to judge it. But what I do want to talk about is it became pretty apparent that again the offensive line was so bad that they ran the ball 30 times for 78 yards. Again, it's only preseason. It was all backups. I get that. But that forced them to go and make a panic decision and give Ezekiel Elliott $6 million.
I have a different take on this than you, but go ahead.
So my first take when I sent it to you all yesterday was, this is Bill trying to make sure that Ramondre doesn't get paid, because Zeke is going to take seven of his touchdowns away.
Such a cynical little bitch sometimes. Like
I just know Bill. I know. Let me ask you a question before you give me your take on this, TK. Do you think that at the addition of Zeke or the potential addition of DeAndre Hopkins would have amounted to more wins?
Okay, obviously, that's not a fair question. Like that's like, obviously it would be better to sign DeAndre Hopkins, but you're making them mutually exclusive. Like one doesn't have to not exist to make the other one true. So it's like a very manipulative and cunty question.
They've had 3 people. They've had 3 star players in for visits this offseason. I named 2 of them. They only signed one of them.
All right, but you also just went from saying that your pass protection was your biggest problem, and then you signed one of the best pass blocking running backs in the NFL.
Literally the reason we put up with is 3 yards per carry.
Like that's just what happened.
Reason. Yeah.
That's just what happened. So you can't. Well, you can, because the First Amendment, and like we have a very evenly spread around shop here. But you can't decry pass protection and then get angry that they went and signed some. Like to me, it's like it made complete sense. Like when I heard that they signed him, it made so much sense, because Bill Belichick signs motherfuckers not when they're Zeke Elliott, when they're Zeke Elliott, but he can do something with them, And it's like, to me, it just made all the fucking sense in the world. I was like, contextually and situationally, he needed to get out of Dallas. That was going to be good. But now in New England, I think you're going to really like him as a pass blocker. And honestly, you think Bill Belichick gives a fuck? You think he won't just be like, you're only ever
for a pass blocker?
I mean, as opposed to it's
$12 million that you have
also a threat. Like also a threat.
3 offensive linemen.
If you run 4 effective fucking running plays with him in a game, then they have to scheme. Or like right away they have to scheme, and then all of a sudden he's out there as a pass blocker, and you haven't anticipated for that, and your linebacker's picking up a spy in no man's land. Like this is, I think, to me, it didn't seem like an absurd amount of money for him, especially maybe that's in relation to the contract he just came off, but like, and probably is. But, and like, that's another reason they had to get him out of Dallas. Like that contract was such an albatross around your neck, like was a big part of the talking point. I also think Dak's not too much fucking money, but that's neither here nor there. I just think it's the perfect place for someone like him to go and shrug off expectations based on the name recognition. Like it's the place that the thing that New England has always done well is it's like, you're a Patriot first. You're not. And that's Bill Belichick all over. You're a Patriot, and then you're whoever the fuck you are. So if he goes to Pittsburgh, there's this Zeke Elliott thing like hanging around his head. If I'm talking about from his perspective, if he goes to Arizona, if he goes to Green Bay, there's this, well, we got Zeke, let's see what he can do. But the Patriots, you think about it as a fan base in a different way, and you're smart to, because you're actually like, well, what's Bill going to do with that guy? And I think that's the way to think about it, because he's now in the Patriots like canal of people. He's no better or worse than anyone else. And like the media is going to start to get affected by that. And it's going to be less headliney. He's just not going to be that headliney because it's going to be what he's used for. And I think it's a smart pickup. I genuinely do. Especially for what you just told me you fucking needed, which is pass blocking.
You don't pay a running back up to $6 million for the season to fucking pass protect.
Keywords.
That's not what you do.
Yeah,
especially when you let a good pass protecting running back go to Buffalo
pass
for
protection
$1.2 million.
Pass protection plus, and plus you have a good ass backfield on paper now. Like that's the plus. Like your fucking backfield might be top 7 on paper, honestly.
So I mean, top 7 I'll give you. I saw a couple posts today. It was like,
I saw that post of we have the best backfield. I saw that.
Bro,
I was like, no, you absolutely do not.
I literally went, do people forget
Who the fuck wrote that?
What Zeke Elliott
Clickbait
looked like last year?
Yeah.
It's not the way you just said it is so perfect because I literally got 2 pictures in my head of like, it's not Zeke Elliott and that's crop top jumping over people doing this. It's Zeke Elliott, which is 3.2 yards per carry in a Patriots jersey. It's just
so
funny.
Like we're gonna get the feed me more thing when he picks up a fucking blitz. Like that's what's gonna happen.
I'm just so happy I don't have to see that.
No, that's my point. That's not what's gonna happen. That's not what players do when they get to New England. They don't retain that part of their personality. It doesn't happen.
I wore this for you for the last time, Mike, by the way.
Great. Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, just for you. You can borrow it if you want. I'll send it to you.
No, I'm gonna get the number 15 one that they start pimping out down at Gillette.
Is he 15?
Yeah, no, I do agree that in the right situation, I feel like Zeke could be very effective, and he was in certain times last year. Like I said, the reason he was on
Bobby, you don't have to sell me on this, and you don't need to do this because he got worse with the best offensive line in the league year after year.
I'm so happy he's gone. Good riddance. Good luck, Mike.
I don't understand what you're trying to sell here. You don't need to. It's as a Patriot fan that is tormented, mainly you, Bobby, but I assume you too, DK. I know this. We deserve it. We're getting exactly what we deserve. Like this is not going to be good
because you're not even getting what you deserve yet. Because you're still mediocre and still have a possible chance at a playoff berth. Meanwhile, Tom Brady left the Buccaneers, and they're going to be 2-15 this year. They're going to be the worst.
We made this point on the power ranking show when you were in here, Mike. It's like these are the only fucking franchises ever survived.
Only franchise
back of that stature walking off and going somewhere else and winning. Like that should have destroyed the Patriots for the next.
Destroyed them.
Like it should have, but because you had Bill Belichick, you're still like winning fucking seasons. Is wild. Also, your fucking division is so scary.
Did he die? And you just see a little mouth pop. You're like, no, he's still. Dude,
honestly, like we won't even bet against them. Like it's once bitten, twice shy with the fucking Patriots. Like I'm watching the Jets get better week to week. Like I'm watching them get better. I'm looking at how good the Bills already are. I'm looking at how good the Dolphins already are, except I'm pretty sure that the offensive line wants Tua to die. Like, I don't know what he did to them, but like they want Tua to fucking be killed this year, which I don't see him making it through the whole season, just as a separate aside. But I'm not writing up the Pats. I still think you could win fucking 10 games and just like spit it right in my face. I could see it. I've seen
the Patriots
it.
Are only okay. We'll get into this and when we start picking like the wins and losses of the division. But what I will just say is that the Patriots are favored to win 4 of their 17 games this year. That's it. 4.
That could be an identity builder.
You know what? It could be.
Everybody's counting us out. Everybody's counting us out. No one thinks we can do it.
Before we end here,
I bet you lose those 4 games too, by the way, and still end up with a winning record.
Okay, really? A winning record?
That. Yeah, I think you'll have a winning record this year. I'm never ever gonna say the opposite with the Pats. I'm just not gonna do it. It's just I'm not taking a victory lap. I've taken like 6 victory laps in the Patriots, and they all turned out to be fucking premature. Like I'm not doing it.
We have losing seasons still 2 out of the last 3 years. Like it's
not like. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Last year was comical too. Last year was something.
Oh my God, that offense, like those plays,
was something. Like,
what is happening? The opposite.
That's what's so different about these Patriots is like the way that they lose games is just wild.
Is it, Bobby?
Just wild. No, but I just want to say, DK, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you that most of this podcast was us sitting here Because this used to be reversed. It was us sitting here talking and gloating about the Bears and how positive we are about their team moving forward, and was actually a focal part of the show.
Yeah.
And that's something that we haven't been able to do in a few years, and I'm happy for you.
That feels like a backhanded compliment. All of a
It was 100%. And that's what you guys get for making me defensive about the Cowboys every goddamn time I come on here. Both of
I'm
you.
actually happy for you, DK. I'm actually really happy for you.
See, Mike's a nice guy. Mike's a nice guy
Yeah.
when it suits him.
Correct.
You can sense the manipulation coming through the screen. You can just
like,
there's
would it have been
like,
better to sign Zeke Elliott
waves.
or someone way better than
No.
Zeke?
No. They were comparable.
Answer that question if you dare.
They were comparable.
Man, I'm just fucking happy that we're gonna be watching football in 3 weeks.
It
Real
feels
proper
so good,
competitive
man.
football. I'm down for it.
Well, I mean, you two will. We won't. I won't be.
Dude, you're so down on these fucking guys, huh? Jesus.
Look, okay. Again, I think that they're better than they were last year. But let's just say that
Any
Tua stays
positive? Can you
healthy.
say two nice things about the Patriots? Can you say two positive things about the Patriots this year?
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a top 10 defense, and
That's
I
something.
think that Juju Smith-Schuster is going to shut a lot of people up this year when they say that he's comparable to Jacoby Myers. No disrespect to Jacoby Myers.
Super Bowl
but-
winner Juju Smith-Schuster has things left to prove.
Oh, yeah, you don't live in New England. Oh, yeah, they're saying that Juju is the exact same wide receiver as Jacoby Myers, and I can't.
Is that a Felger?
No,
Mass?
every.
Are you bringing AM radio
all of them?
takes to this?
No, every beat writer is saying that it's a 1-for-1. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
No,
stupid. That's
Jacoby fucking Myers. Like, what do you mean it? This is Juju Smith-Schuster, and I think that he's going to have
What is that?
Really
What is
good
that
year.
about the attitude towards him in general? Like that get off my lawn kids these days bullshit. Is it because he like made TikToks for like 5
TikTok
seconds?
thing, yeah. And
Like to me, if you're just like if you want to sound like you know what you're fucking talking about when you're talking about football. He went into a system in Kansas City that did not fit his play style at all, and he made a ton of adjustments and like had a really good Super Bowl game. So like I
Right.
don't
well, in
it's just that's just like
fair.
definitively true. Like I don't know what to tell
a
you.
lot of his bad rap was the way it ended with Antonio Brown and the shit that he was getting into with the Steelers.
But
and,
Antonio Brown's a fucking asshole.
AB specifically, and I think we know
Yep.
how that turned out. So I think we should cut him some slack, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's
I also
why he
think
gets that negative connotation, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I,
think
no,
of
I,
anything
well, I
else?
do think that Juju. I think there was a brief period of time there where he thought he was going to be a 1, and that's like you should always have the
He is.
mentality. But they quickly realized that he isn't. But he's a damn good 2, and he's far and away more talented than Jacoby Myers. So to think that it's going to be the same, 1-for-1, that's bullshit. And I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people when he shouldn't have to. He's just that much more talented.
What's stupid about is so Jacoby Myers' ceiling is, I mean, I can't even Jacoby Myers. I
saw
can't
it.
even think about it yet. Juju ceiling, I feel like could be like an Anquan Bolden. I feel like that's what Juju's ceiling actually is, where he's that possession type receiver. He's never gonna blow you away with his speed, never gonna take the top off of defense, but he will absolutely take a game away from you, 100%. And
Well, I think I agree with you. I think like funny enough, like you can compare him to a lot of that type of wide receiver to come out
Yeah.
of Pittsburgh specifically. Like you've seen guys like
Right.
that are one tier below the Antonio Browns of the world come through that organization, and it's like they have like one elite skill is what you're saying, right, Bobby? It's like you can do one thing. Like I feel like Juju's hands. Like I feel like he'll catch everything that
and he's
comes
strong
his
as
way.
fuck.
And like and he'll beat. He might not beat the defender off the run, like you're saying. I agree with that. And I think that a lot of people have that as like a prerequisite of a wide receiver. It's like, if you can't create space, like you can't be in the NFL. And it's like, well, I don't know how true that is. Like, how good are you at running underneath routes? Like, how good are you at catching like away from your body? How good, you know what I mean? Like those little kind of like small incremental things that like you said, like games turn on these, they 100% turn on these. And I also think he's good in pressure situations. So it's like you have 2 to 3 elite skills. You can do a job, as they say, in an offense. But I also think he's a little even better than that. I think he can make an elite player too in a game. And yeah, RB or wide receiver 1, maybe not, but we've started to classify, if you guys have, I think that you could call us like the children of Calvin Johnson. Like we've started to classify wide receiver ones as like, unless you're like in the tier of elite wide receivers, like the top 8 to 11 wide receivers in the NFL, you're like not a true wide receiver one. So it's like, yeah, I get it, but you can win a Super Bowl with 3 really good wide receivers and not one like unbelievably elite.
Hines Ward was the number 1 wide receiver for a team that won 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
You know,
like yeah, I mean he had a fucking great Super Bowl. Like he had a
but he
great game,
so,
you know what I mean? It's like it's about this. It's about what you're a weapon. You know what I mean? Like you're a fucking weapon.
You don't need
how you use that weapon is what's important. Like it's not hinging on the guy like the quarterback, you know, or this. And now in today's era, you have tight ends that can all catch and all run routes. You know, like
but you don't need it to create separation. You don't.
No. You just need to run good routes. You need to find dead zones and zone defenses. You need to be smart. Like if you think that the Kansas City Chiefs have been the best team in the past 5 years because of their just because of their talent, you're wrong. Like they have been light years ahead of everybody in how they've run and schemed their offenses. Like Andy Reid has been like full on playing 3D chess, and
they're literally running Ring Around the Rosie as a play.
Right. Yeah. Like and like I mean gimmick plays aside though, like they're off. Like if the Patriots did that defensively in their dynasty, in their era of domination in the 2000s, I really think defensively they were light years ahead of everybody, and that's why Belichick was able to get guys from the 6th round to come in and be fucking world beaters for a year, you know. And it was because of how he schemes defenses. He's obviously a defense first guy. Like it's, you know, there's nobody's arguing that. Reed has this ability to like draw up these offenses that are so sick. and he puts guys in these positions that are talented, and he's a good talent scout too and everything. But you want to be building teams now, in my opinion, based on the Kansas City Chiefs blueprint, and you don't need to get Patrick Mahomes and fucking Tyreek Hill to do that. You know, you can get Juju Smith-Schuster. They literally showed you that in Kansas City last year, that you can get a Juju Smith-Schuster, put him into a situation that accentuates not necessarily his 1, 2, and 3 talents, but what you need from him in a given situation. And that's what the Patriots love in a player. So why would anyone be mad that he's on your team? I don't get it.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. The Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill, replaced him with 2 or 3 number 2s, and
it worked. And no one thought it was going to work.
Right. Because of scheming. I mean, that's it. But I don't. But also because you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Well, they made Travis Kelce the wide receiver 1, and that's another example of why they're fucking light years ahead of everybody. Though, is they were literally like, Travis Kelce is our fucking number 1 receiving threat this year.
You know
like that, and it works.
We didn't talk about Travis Kelce more, and then maybe he'll come on our podcast, or he'll invite us on his.
He's so fucking good, dude. I drafted him like 12th in our fantasy league last year, and he just lit. He's going 1st overall this year, so it's like
he's unbelievable.
But before we go, we talked about how the Packers have had a Hall of Fame quarterback for like the last 35 years, right? 2 of them. Have the Chiefs had a Hall of Fame tight end for the last 20 years? Was there a gap between Tony and Travis Kelce?
There was a gap,
break.
Because he played in Atlanta for a little bit too. Yeah. He was in Atlanta for a few years, so there's definitely a gap there.
But when was Kelce drafted?
I think
17. 17.
That's like 5 years after Tony Gonzalez left.
Was it 5?
Yeah, it was a while.
At least.
Okay.
It's like Tony Gonzalez all-time Madden 99 streak, right? Like he's the guy who was rated 99.
Oh, because don't forget the Chiefs had
and he only dropped off when he went to Atlanta.
Remember the Chiefs had a streak there where there wasn't a pass catcher who caught a touchdown for like 27 straight games.
Yeah, well, that's because Alex Smith was their quarterback.
Yeah, and
you know what's kind of crazy if you think about it? This is kind of stupid, but also kind of crazy. Is like, Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback to ever play for the Kansas City Chiefs because Montana played there in the 90s. But like potentially has
opening that can right now, bro.
I mean, I'm not saying Montana on the Chiefs, but he's not the most talented quarterback that Kansas City have ever had, right? Like that, he's just not.
I disagree.
You think he's better than Montana already?
Yes.
Already?
Yes.
Already?
There's There's no doubt about it.
So wait a second. So we're just
Patrick
throwing the
Mahomes
rings
is
argument
better
out the
at
window.
every aspect.
We're throwing the rings argument out the window. Like that. That's done.
Just a better quarterback.
It doesn't matter. Says fucking who? Says you, motherfucker. What the fuck? Joe Montana's still firmly number 2. He's still firmly number 2.
Yeah, I know. But talent-wise, Mahomes better than Brady. It's just he doesn't have a better career. But
okay, cool.
talent-wise,
awesome. Have that. Hold that. Go over there with that. What the fuck? Career. That's what matters.
Okay,
we're talking about quarterbacks in the NFL.
But does the Chiefs?
The stakes and the terms have been decided.
The Chiefs doesn't count towards Montana's accolades, though.
That's fair.
Well,
that's a fair point. I'll take that point.
Let me ask you a question, Bobby. How many Super Bowls has Patrick Mahomes lost?
One
more than Montana. So
right.
I think
Montana's got that Jordan argument.
He lost an AFC champion. He lost an AFC championship game, though.
Okay, so
he lost a shit ton of NFC title games too, but never lost in Super Bowl. You know?
I'm pretty sure he's perfect in college championship.
I always found that stat funny because it's like, he didn't get there every year. That's what Brady.
Right. Okay,
Brady's so much better because
don't shift the goalposts. We're not talking Brady versus Montana. You stupid son of a bitch. You can't just keep saying it.
Mike did it.
What do you mean? What
Brady versus Montana?
No.
When did I do that?
But no, I was gonna get there. Hang on, I'm connecting it.
Sorry.
You just said Mike did it.
I know. I had to think of my rebuttal first, so I just blamed it on you. It was just my go-to there. So I mean, you think about it though. I don't think it matters that he lost that Super Bowl because he got there.
To Tom Brady,
and exactly, and it was the fucking Tom Brady, and it was the last Super Bowl for Tom Brady. Maybe fixed. Who knows? But I'm just saying.
Right.
Listen, I'm just saying. I mean, Mike, you're the stats guy.
He got there.
Joe Montana, 192 games. Patrick Mahomes, 80 games. So let's just cut everything in half for Joe Montana, right?
Yep.
Way more completions, 3,500 to 1985. Way less attempts. If you parse it out, he's got 5,391 pass attempts, and Patrick Mahomes has already got over 3,000. So
if
Mahomes
he threw
the ball a lot less
or 90s, bro, he would have broke fucking football. They wouldn't have known what the fuck to do with it.
Obviously, bro, but that's not the case. Like, that's not how you have these arguments. Like, you can't just be like, we perfected sports science and started putting specimens in a fucking lab. They would go back and beat these motherfuckers from the Stone Age. Yeah, of course. But you got to compare them in their own era. You can't cheat in conversations like this. Bro, have you not had these before?
You can't compare Mahomes to Montana. Like,
no,
it's such a different
you compare them based on what was in front of them and the fucking context of the league that they were in. This is my problem with the fucking Jordan LeBron argument. It's like, to me, it's like 6 or 6, like cut and dry. You're done. 6 or 6.
Before
he's playing against guys that were trying to kill him with a hatchet. Like it's a wrap.
I want to ask you a question, DK, before we wrap it up. In his first 5 years, is he better than Brady?
Mahomes? Sorry.
In Brady's first 5 years, yeah.
Brady's first 5 years versus Mahomes' first 5 years.
Yep.
I think they're identical. I honestly
really identical.
I think they're identical.
Well, 3 out of 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but Mahomes has won 3 out of 4.
2 out of 3, right? 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. He's won.
And that's what Brady was. 2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
He won in 19 and then in 22.
Yeah, so 2 out of 3 because he lost in 21. Or
he lost in 20. It didn't go to
2 out of 4. So 2 out of 4.
Yeah, 2 out of 4.
But still, if you think about, and they're odds-on favorite.
DK, you sound different.
And they're odds-on favorite this year.
I'm just doing math in my head, which makes me have to go quiet because I'm not good at it.
If you projection, but wait, if you actually think, we said this on the Power Ranking show. I said this at the very end. It's funny. We'll talk about this at the very end of this one too. Mahomes has a real legitimate shot to have an equal to, if not better, career than Tom Brady.
Yeah, can I just disagree, though?
Listen, it is an actual thing that is in play. People can talk about it, but it is an actual thing that if this level of dominance, remember how sure you were how good the Chiefs were last year? That's what could happen for the next 10 fucking years. Every single year he is in the league. So it is very possible and very much on the table for him to have an equal career.
And Brady's
you're literally talking about a guy that has to go and win 4 fucking Super Bowls to do this. Like,
you don't think he can do that?
We're all so flippant about the amount of fucking. Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Buccaneers one. Jesus Christ.
But
That's
would you?
so fucking crazy.
But
We're all so
10
flippant
10
about how
years from
easy
now.
apparently that is to do, dude.
So is it unfathomable that it's 2033? There's been 10 Super Bowls, and Pat Mahomes has won half of those. I don't think that's a crazy thing to think about.
Yes, because Joe Burrow's in the league now.
Right. So he wins 3, and someone else wins 2.
Did Brady win
But-
Super Bowl
but-
MVP in every single Super Bowl he was in?
No,
That he
no,
won?
he didn't. He didn't even win MVP in the first 3.
Because I
He
think
didn't
that
win- he
that,
didn't
that might be
MVP
that might be a
until
cudgel you could use because Mahomes is going to win MVP in every single win that he ever wins in the Super Bowl. Like he just is. So, and like
Mahomes
Brady
was
wasn't.
amazing in the Super Bowl he lost. He was the only reason that they were
I know.
even close in that game.
I know.
He threw a ball 45 yards. with
You
feet on
just
the ground.
figure first 5 years in the league, Brady won 3 Super Bowls, and first 5 years in the league, Mahomes went to 3,
First
won
6
2.
years. First 6 it's 3-2. First 5 it's 2-2. Right.
No, Brady was drafted in 2000, so 2000 to 2005 they won 01, 03, 04. So it's
Yeah.
So
they-
it is
they both
three.
sat-
Why did
they
I
both
think they
sat
had the
there
same
first
amount
year.
at this point? That's weird. Okay. They're 2-2 at this point because Brady won 2 out of 3. Then, by your logic, he won 2 out of 3 Super Bowl MVPs, right? By in his first 5 years.
no, he won none. He did
Yeah,
not
Brady
win
won
any
none.
of those. He didn't win any Super Bowl MVPs.
I don't think that's
I
true.
just think we're ahead
I
of
don't
the
think
game,
that's true.
guys.
Is
I
that
think this
true?
is a conversation that we're having 5 years ahead of schedule, and I think it's a real possibility that 5 years from now, people are like, "Is Mahomes gonna be better than Brady because he's gonna win 2 or 3 more?" Super
Well,
Bowls?"
he might have won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and
He did.
Pat Mahomes has won 2 MVPs.
He's won.
Right?
They both won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. By 27, they both won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. So that's something.
Brady did win the first one. You're
Yeah.
right. He did win the first one.
And the second one.
All right, so we're fucking stupid. But
Well, yeah, you guys are. I'm not. But the
Right.
the important thing being like that's where you start breaking it down. Is my point. Like once it's like first he has to equal the amount of Super Bowls, then he has to. Dude, Bobby, I don't know, man. It's such a big hill to climb. Like he has to win 5 more Super Bowls, and in one of those Super Bowls, he has to complete one of the greatest comebacks in the history of Super Bowls, if not the greatest. It has to be a bigger scoreline or equal to scoreline to the Falcons. Patriots won. Like,
that's their criteria, though. You know?
what do you mean, dude? That's like it's a full blown accomplishment. Like, you're not putting that shit on your resume. Like, bitch, you can't fucking like the most one sided fucking like
I guess
flop fest
28
that
to
people
3
were
is-
walking out of the
is impressive.
stadium.
Yeah, I guess that's impressive.
It was like certified as GOAT status. It was like it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, and I was glad it happened because it kind of overshadows LeBron's 3-1 comeback against the Warriors. I'm like, I can always be like, nah, that Falcons game was harder.
28 to 3 was pretty sweet because the best part about it was you could see that shit coming from the moment they came out of halftime. You're like, oh shit, the Patriots
I
might
knew.
fucking win this.
I
game.
knew when I saw that. I saw how hard the Falcons were celebrating in the second
Yeah.
quarter. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are fucking idiots, dude. You're
Um,
counting your chickens. Brady's gonna come take all your chickens.
I'm just saying it's gonna be tough to persuade me that the Chiefs aren't gonna be the favorite for the next 5 years in the NFL.
You,
You
think
know,
Bill
it's-
Belichick is a better coach or Andy Reid's a better coach?
I think you give Bill Belichick Pat Mahomes in his prime, we see something fucking
You
special.
sure? You sure he doesn't play him a wide receiver or some shit and like fuck him
No,
up?
I was gonna say he probably puts him on fucking punt block. I just think
I wonder how many.
Andy
Pat
Reid-
I'm
Mahomes
not
has
talking
covered
about
out of
senile Bill. I'm not talking about old Bill.
Yeah, fucking probably just put him in pump blocker.
it's Reed wins one more. Andy Reid, in my opinion, because then he made a Pro Bowler out of Donovan McNabb, post jail Michael Vick, Alex Smith, and then wins Super Bowls with Mahomes. Like that is just
I think he's got
That's
to
all-
get 6.
special.
I just think
Yeah.
he's got to get 6 if we're talking about him versus Belichick. I think the criteria is clear with these conversations.
Well-
it's about the amount of rings you pull in. Like,
well, but does Pat Mahomes go for 20 years with Andy Reid? Because Bill doesn't win 6
Okay.
without
I
Tom
don't
Brady
think
there.
so. I
Here's-
need Andy Reid to start like monitoring his A1C if that's going to be the case. He needs to start like fucking eating wheat bread.
If we
want to
I don't know
see
if
that.
he's making it 20 more years.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying.
I
Bro.
don't know if that's happening.
Well, just 15 more years. That's all I need. 15 more.
Technically, all he needs is 5 more.
His personal life's not doing him any
If they go
favors
5.
either, so.
That's another factor. Streaks.
What
like how-
the condition of his family is
Yeah,
another
yeah,
factor.
right. No, another factor is the amount of back-to-back-to-backs. Because if they win one, go down 2, and then fire off like 3 or 4 in a row, like that's official dynasty status. Like you might even be able to say that if he has one less than Brady at that point, he might be better. Like
if he wins 3 in a row, Bill never did that.
Right.
There's a big gap in Brady's career where he doesn't have those Super Bowls, and
Brady's got like 3 Hall of Fame careers, bro. It's bananas.
He just has an almost perfect season right in that 10-year period.
I mean, that's true. But
if that season resulted in a Super Bowl, we would not even be having this conversation.
There's no conversation. Correct. This is.
And in fact, we probably shouldn't be having this conversation. If I'm being 100% honest with you, we're 5 Super Bowls away. Like, Alex being 2 Super Bowls.
If he does it in 15, so he doesn't play 20 years, right?
You didn't even believe he was going to win shit last year.
Well, now I do.
And now you're just, you know what it is?
That was
I know what it is. You're hoping for
this.
He
fucking did, bro.
You're hoping for this. This is what it is. You're hoping that he eclipses Brady.
You said a sign of leadership is to acknowledge your mistakes and move forward in the best way possible. And that is what I am doing. Okay. Yep. So
Captain.
Just remember, Bobby, before we wrap it up, and before I do, thank you, DK. Thank you, Bobby. But if Pat Mahomes is to do this the next 5 years, that means 5 more years without Dallas Cowboys winning Super Bowl. We'll talk to you next week on Missing the Point.
Welcome to Ringside with Ray and Prince. My name is Ray Leonard Jr.
Oh, that's the set? No, that's just my dad.
My name is Prince Daniels Jr.
Daniels again with a big home touchdown.
On this show, we come to humanize
athletes, entertainers, business executives. We're going to see what makes them tick.
Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there. Peace and power.
Electric acid.
Introducing the Deep Leadership Podcast. Leadership is a people business. That's the philosophy of your podcast host, John Rennie. As a former submarine officer who spent 22 years leading businesses in corporate America before starting his own manufacturing business, he knows that leadership matters. Deep Leadership is real-world, actionable leadership advice from John and his expert guests. Become a leader worth following. Subscribe today.
Electric acid.